Hey there everyone, welcome to the Uke Stuff channel. And today I want to talk about my Magic Fluke, which I have reviewed on this channel. And there was a discussion in one of the Facebook groups, that it might have been the Magic Fluke group. There is a group for Magic Fluke owners about a Magic Fluke. Somebody, I think, had bought a Firefly and they had asked what people thought of the Fluke and the Flea. So the Fluke itself is different than the Flea or the Firefly, or even the timber base that they sell. The Fluke, I think, was the original product, and then they added the Flea, which is a smaller shape. It's sort of round rather than triangular. This is, I think, called a boat paddle shape. And it has the flat bottom that can let it stand. It's very deep, has a very flat neck profile, and you can see very little break angle here. The only break angles there. They're all made out of ABS on the back, but some are not laminate. Some have solid wood there. Some have a wood fretboard rather than a plastic fretboard because they can wear down over time. And then the tuners, generally they're friction tuners, or they are peg head tuners like I have on my Maya Moe, for example. Now, I personally don't like friction tuners. If you do, I don't mean to insult you. You be you. You are welcome to love friction tuners. They're just not my favorite. And Graphtech came out with these plastic ones. Some people think they're really ugly. I certainly don't think that they look any worse than the peg head sticking out of here, or even the friction tuners. But again, your choice, how you want to think about that. The original batch of these Graphtech ratios, which are under $30 or so, some of them had breaking posts. There's been some discussions about whether or not there's breaking with consequent batches, perhaps, but so far these have held out, as have the ratio tuners or the Tune-a-Leles on my Daniel Hulbert travel ukulele. So I don't have a problem with these, and if they broke, I would just replace it because I can. Now, what I wanted to talk about was the installation process here, and then I'll also again share I only have a couple of negatives with the Fluke. The first is that you can't really install a traditional strap button. There are solutions, yes, I understand, from everything from command strips to Velcro to whatever. I get that. But I'm sort of a traditional strap person, so I could put a strap button here. That would be possible, although it could impact your playing. But I would not put one on the inside. And it could be interesting. They could even make potentially a brace on the inside that you could actually drill into, but that's okay. I mean, just you could go that route, but I don't think you have to. You don't necessarily need to have that. And there is some utility in being able to just set it down and not have a strap button down there. You'd have to have it on the back and then probably one up on top or right up here to do that. And yeah, you could reverse design that. And again, these have a real special place, not only because they're great sounding and great playing, but they're also connected to the third wave rebirth of the ukulele. Jim Beloff helped design this with his sister and brother-in-law, and they founded that Magic Fluke company. So this has a really important place in ukulele history as well. So not only is it a great instrument, 100% American made, which is why it costs so much for a plastic-based ukulele, but that's it. But again, I'm not a friction tuner guy, so my solution was to buy these and put them on. Now, it was a little tricky because normally you ream out the hole and it needed to be reamed out, and you can do that from both sides of an ukulele. You can do it from the top and you go very slowly, very carefully, and then do it from the back. On this one, because of this headstock, you couldn't do it from both sides, so it was really tricky for me to ream out, and I just went really slow. And I think at some point when I got far enough in, I actually got a drill then when I could actually drill out the rest of the way that I needed to do it. Now, what is the negative of doing this? Well, the positive obviously is it's way easier to tune. Way easier to tune with these. So by 100%, as would be the peg heads, which are so much more in price. The traditional UPTs don't fit on here, although I've seen people do that where they really fit out. But they do stick out. Can you see that? Just barely over the edge. So with all sincerity, Magic Fluke could make the headstock here a little thicker and actually offer these fitting right on the headstock when they sold them, because they have to cut this or CNC this neck anyway. They could design this head to be just a little thicker, just a little thicker. And we're talking probably 1/8 of an inch overall, and these would line up perfectly and be a great solution for them, especially since it's a plastic ukulele. But they do stick out just a little bit, if you can see that. So from the side, it doesn't look bad at all, although they are sticking out. But from the top, you can see that there's a little bit of black that you can see. Now, that doesn't bother me because this instrument was bought used. I did not buy it new. I bought it for a really, really good price, and it's something that's going to stick with me until I'm not playing anymore. So that's okay with me. If you're going to do this, yes, you can. Be very careful reaming it out. That's the one thing. And again, the holes can be drilled the appropriate size then too if you're going to use these. So, you know, Magic Fluke hasn't changed their design for years, really, but that would be something I would suggest. The other thing that would be interesting, again, would be a wooden frame on the inside that would just be for an attachment point of some strap buttons. That would be kind of cool too. That could be done. That could be CNC'd as well and dropped in there. And again, just ideas for making what's already considered one of the best plastic-based ukuleles on the planet out there. Now, the only other thing that sometimes I struggle with is the neck shape is really wide and really flat. And although, for example, I have my Maya Moe that has a similar profile, that profile is slightly different in width. So with that in mind too, it's a really wide neck. And normally I say, hey, if you have a 35 millimeter nut, the neck is really narrow, so you may not like it. Well, this is the case that if you have small hands, you may not be a fan of this. And this is the concert size. They do offer tenor in this. I'm not sure about soprano, but for sure the flea, which is a smaller one of these, comes in the soprano size as well. So turns out I hadn't made a video about this. I thought I had made a video about the process and installing them, but then when I was doing a search on my channel, I couldn't find it. Now maybe it's still out there, maybe I did make it and I just couldn't find it, but I just want to make sure I talked about that since we had just talked about that on the channel. And by the way, don't forget, when you're changing strings, I did a whole video about changing strings on these. You have to be careful about the way that you're winding it so that when you have internal things like this, your inner strings wind from the outside going in and your outside string is going from your inside out to allow them to line up correctly off the fretboard. That's another really important thing. So this is what it looks like when you use the ratios on a Fluke. I don't think it looks too bad. It's way more usable for me. It's something I don't mind lugging around and playing now. Before, when it was, you know, you touch the tuner that much and it's way out of tune already, it's like, now am I overstressing it? A little bit, but this is way, way, way easier to tune than anything else. So I just thought I'd play you something too. Let me tune this up. Oh, by the way, when you use the ratio tuners, you can no longer use my incredible auto tuner. It doesn't work with planetary tuners, doesn't work with friction tuners, so then I'm forced to actually tune with a regular tuner. So let's see what we're looking at here. Yeah, so much easier to tune than doing the other thing. By the way, what tuner am I using? I'm using really what's my favorite clip-on tuner. It's the Unitune by TC Electronics. Alright, so there's the E. And there's the A. All right, and I figured I would just play for you my Streets of Laredo, which is a chord melody that if it isn't out yet, it's on my channel with a tutorial and a demonstration, and you can find the PDF on my website, ukuleles.info. So here we go. All right, thanks for joining me for the video. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll be back soon with some more uke stuff for you.